Rick sees something he cannot unsee, and everything starts unraveling. Let us start with Rick because this storyline is the kind that is simultaneously very familiar and very specific to the people involved, and watching a man who has genuinely tried to change discover that the trying has limits when the right trigger gets pulled is one of the most human and most uncomfortable things soap opera can do. Rick has history. Long documented, Port Charles history with jealousy and possessive behavior, and the specific things that jealousy does to a man who does not have the healthiest relationship to his own insecurity.
He has worked on this.
That is genuinely true and deserves to be acknowledged before anything else. The version of Rick who shows up in Port Charles now is not the worst version of himself. He is someone who has put real effort into becoming better than the worst of what he has been. But he is not invulnerable. And what he is about to see is going to test every bit of growth he has managed with a very specific and targeted kind of pressure. Elizabeth and Dante have been spending time together. There is a warmth between them that has been building in the background of other stories, a genuine connection rooted in shared experience and mutual respect, and the specific ease that develops between people who have navigated Port Charles's various crises from adjacent positions for long enough that they understand each other, without a lot of explanation required. Nothing inappropriate has happened. They are friends. They are each other's confidants in the way that people who have history in the same world become confidants. But what Rick sees from a distance is not the full context. It is a moment. And moments pulled out of context are exactly the material that jealousy works with. He watches from somewhere removed, unable to hear the conversation, unable to know what is being said, only able to see how close they are standing and how warm the exchange looks. Maybe a hug that holds a second longer than casual. Maybe a moment where Elizabeth's face does something that Rick has learned to recognize as vulnerability being offered to someone she trusts. Whatever the specific image is, it is enough. It lands in Rick's chest as a threat, even though nothing threatening is actually happening. The day after is worse. Elizabeth makes Dante her confidant for something. She tells him something she has been carrying, trusts him with something that she has not shared with Rick. And Rick finds out. The specific hurt of being replaced as the person someone turns to when they need to talk, the realization that there is now someone else in that position that you thought was yours, is the kind of hurt that does not respond to rational reassurance. It requires something more than being told everything is fine. The healthy response would be to tell Elizabeth he is uncomfortable. To say clearly and without drama that seeing her closeness with Dante has triggered something in him, and he needs some reassurance and probably some conversation about where the limits are. That is the Rick who has been working on himself speaking. The Rick who is being pulled backward by what he saw. The one who has a history of doing very specific and very damaging things when jealousy overrides his better judgment, is not going to make that healthy choice. He is going to spin out. He is going to start doing things that he will regret when he is on the other side of whatever the spiral produces. The danger for Rick here is not just that he might lose Elizabeth over this. It is that he might confirm, through his own behavior in this vulnerable moment, that the things people worried about him have not actually been resolved. They have just been waiting for the right circumstances to surface. That is a devastating thing to discover about yourself. And it is a devastating thing for someone who loves you to discover about you. Elizabeth deserves to be trusted, and she deserves a partner who can manage his own anxiety about her relationships with other people without it becoming her problem. Whether Rick can find that capacity in this moment, or whether what Rick sees on that day sends him down a road that ends the relationship he has been so invested in building, that is the question the fall is going to answer. And it is not a comfortable one to sit with. Britt and Tristan and the first kiss that is coming. Now let us talk about Britt, because the romantic story being built around her is one of the most carefully constructed of the summer, and the patience with which the show has been moving these two characters toward each other is about to pay off in a very specific and very dramatic way. Britt has been operating in a state of professional rebuilding all summer. She got her job back at the hospital, which required accepting a set of conditions that have her running at maximum capacity with almost no room for anything else. Extra duties, additional commitments, the grinding work of re-establishing trust and proving you deserve the position you were given back. She has been present and capable and excellent, and it has cost her enormously in terms of personal time and personal energy. Jason came back, and Britt was genuinely thrilled to see him. That is the honest starting point of where their current situation lives. She was not performing relief or happiness, she felt it. The specific comfort of having someone who matters to you return from somewhere you were afraid they might not come back from is real, and it cannot be faked. But the reconnection that was supposed to follow has not happened. Not because either of them stopped caring. Because life, Jason's life centered on Danny, Britt's life consumed by professional survival, has not created the space for it. They have been in the same town doing different things, and the distance between those different things has grown without anyone explicitly deciding to let it grow. And then there is the Cassius secret that Britt has been keeping. The specific thing she chose not to tell Jason about the twin imposter situation is sitting between them like a quiet piece of damage that has not yet exploded, but is very much present. Jason values honesty with the specific intensity of someone who knows what it costs when the people around him are not honest with him. When this comes out, and it is going to come out because these things always come out, the way it lands on their already fragile connection is going to be significant. Tristan has been present all along. Not loudly, not with a declared agenda, but consistently in proximity. The friction with Britt when she confronted him about his background. The friction with Brennan that suggests a personal history nobody has fully explained. The specific quality of attention he pays to the situations around him at the hospital. Tristan is a man who observes carefully and acts deliberately, and the way he has been observing the situation with Britt suggests someone who is waiting for the right moment rather than rushing toward one. Anna's crisis is the mechanism that produces the right moment. Whatever is coming from the hallucination-driven plan that Peter has been pushing her toward, whatever Anna does when the trap she has set finally springs, Britt is going to be in genuine danger. And Jason, whose focus has been shifting toward Danny and toward the possible Yelku chapter that Carly suggested, is not the person who is going to be in the right place at the right moment. Tristan is going to be there. The rescue, the specific act of physical intervention that puts Tristan between Britt and whatever Anna's deteriorating state has arranged for her, is the kind of moment that operates on every level simultaneously. Relief and gratitude, and the physical closeness that comes from danger survive together. The specific hormonal reality of someone who just saved your life standing right in front of you in the immediate aftermath of that saving. The first kiss after that moment is going to catch them both off guard. Not because neither of them had been aware of something between them, but because the moment of permission was not something either of them was planning for. It simply arrives, in the way that moments of genuine feeling arrive when they are ready, regardless of whether the people involved are prepared. If Britt and Jason still have any official standing as a romantic possibility when this happens, the kiss with Tristan is technically a betrayal of that. But the specific circumstances, the rescue, the immediate aftermath, the specific quality of emotion that survival produces, are the circumstances that this genre has always recognized as different from a deliberate choice to be unfaithful. Port Charles understands these distinctions. The audience understands them too. What happens to Britt and Jason after this moment depends on whether the space that the summer has been creating between them has grown too wide to bridge by the time the Tristan kiss happens. And all signs point to yes. Jason drifting further and the distance that is now deliberate. And finally, let's look at the pattern that connects these two stories, because what is happening to Rick and Elizabeth and what is happening to Britt and Jason are both versions of the same thing, which is the show deliberately creating emotional and physical distance between established or potential couples to make room for something new. In Rick's case, the distance is being created not through any deliberate choice by Elizabeth, but through the natural and innocent development of a friendship between two people who have things in common. Rick's jealousy is going to do the work of widening that distance further, potentially so far that it becomes irreversible. The show is using Rick's own worst instincts as the mechanism for moving him away from a relationship that, in a healthier version of himself, he might have been able to hold on to. In Jason's case, the distance is being created through life circumstances, Danny's primacy, Britt's work obligations, the uncommunicated truth about Cassius sitting between them. Nobody is making a deliberate choice to end what they had. The ending is happening through omission and distraction, and the specific way that important conversations keep not happening because something else always seems more urgent. Both of these are deeply human and deeply honest ways for romantic situations to shift. Neither involves a villain. Neither involves a dramatic betrayal that provides clear narrative moral positioning. Both of them are about people who care about each other failing to hold on to something because the circumstances around them and the choices they make within those circumstances erode the connection before anyone fully registers what is happening. The show replacing these connections with new ones, Dante and Elizabeth finding their closeness deepening naturally, Tristan and Britt moving towards something with the patient inevitability that the rescue will crystallize, is not a rejection of what came before. It is the honest storytelling of a world in which people change and move and find new connections even when they are not looking for them.